Maybe sign in on your if you have a device. I will forward to the link.
Oh, I can.
Okay, yes.
Okay, thank you. I'll have you before I listen to you on Wednesday for whatever period of time I'm in the vehicle.
Half a day. Oh, I'm too loud. Half a day. I know we can do a little bit better than that. I know it's raining this morning, but half a day. Much better. I know we're all going to get our shot of espresso after this. Half a day, and welcome to the Office of the Governor of Guam. I'm Crystal Paco San Agustin, Director of Communications here. And we are delighted to host you this morning for a proclamation signing to proclaim September 2024 as Sustainable September. And yes, we are in the burn months. So you now put out your Christmas decorations, but also I hope you choose sustainable decorations. At this time, I want to recognize the presence, of course, of the Honorable Joshua F. Tenori, our Acting Governor of Guam. And to his immediate left, we have the President of the University of Guam, Dr. Anita Borja Enriquez. I also want to recognize members of the Leon Guerrero Tenori Administration Cabinet. I see Melvin Wampat Borja. He wears a lot of hats: the Colonization Commission, Department of Chamorro Affairs, Guam Museum, many hats, but also a very strong advocate for Sustainable September. Give him a round of applause. Also joining us this morning, our Homeland Security Advisor, Mrs. Esther Akiki. From the Guam Energy Office, I see Ms. Rebecca Respicio. Also, Dr. Austin Shelton, Director for the University of Guam Center for Island Sustainability and Sea Grant. Kyle Manavan, Associate Director of Communications and Community Engagement. Yes, you guys shout you out. Former Senator Regine Biscoli, and she's also a G3 Steering Committee member. Yes. I do see a number of our partners here. I'm just going to go down the line, and you can save your applause for the end. The Department of Chamorro Affairs, Guam Energy Office, Guam Sustainable Culture, the Guam Department of Education, the Department of Labor, Guam Waterworks Authority, Guam Homeland Security, and VERA, and of course the University of Guam Center for Island Sustainable and Sea Grant, and members of the previous Guam Green Growth Conservation Course. Let's give you all a round of applause. Without further ado, I'm going to tell you why we're all here this morning. I want to give the floor now to Dr. Austin Shelton, Director for UOG's CIS and Sea Grant.
Happening. Good morning, everybody. Happening. A few years ago now, we joined in with the rest of the world in advancing the Sustainable Development Goals that the United Nations stood up in 2015. But it was a special invitation that we had to go to the United Nations General Assembly in New York in 2019 to officially declare that Guam was going to be committed to this. And it was our acting governor, Lieutenant Governor Joshua Tenorio, on that day that we went there to the sidelines of that UN General Assembly, and Guam said yes as one of the first island members, a founding member of the local 2030 Islands Network, to say that we are committed to advancing the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals in locally and culturally effective ways. And it was not long after that we got back home. Governor Leon Guerrero signed or promulgated an executive order creating the Guam Green Growth Working Group. And that's when over 100 different people from all sectors of society, many of you here in the room today, got together and created these different goals and activities, these clusters of the action items that we would take to advance these goals. And so now we have the Guam Green Growth Initiative, which we call our island's largest public-private partnership ever created to achieve a sustainable future. So thank you all in this room who have been part of that and made that happen. So we continue to make great progress on this. You can always take a look at the Guam Green Growth dashboard where we're tracking all of these metrics, everything from that the members find important. It's not just about the environment or our life below water, life on land, which are some of the goals, but there's everything from no poverty, zero hunger, quality education. And that what that tells us is that sustainability is really something that everybody plays a part in. To create our future, the future that we want for the island, sustainability is key to that. And what that really means is that we're meeting the needs of today without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. So we're thankful for the governor and our president of the University of Guam for committing this month and all of our partners here today to Sustainable September. We are going to take lots of different actions this month, which we do for the whole year, but we're going to have this extra focus on it, and we're going to invite you to join us when we get more details to you, but we're going to have events like watershed restoration activities, planting trees. We're going to be unveiling more sustainable development goal educational murals around the island. We're going to be installing a new art exhibit at the Guam Airport and also at DFS Galleria in Tumon. And we're going to be catching up on all of these actions we've been taking for the Guam Green Growth Working Group and for progress on this at the G3 biannual meeting at the end of September as well. So we're looking forward to seeing you throughout the month. Thank you again, Suzuis Masi, for being here, everybody.
Suzuis Masi, Dr. Shelton. I now want to give the floor to the Honorable Joshua Tenorio, our acting governor of Guam.
I was just looking at, there is also another event this month that the Bureau of Planning is coordinating, and that's the Guam Coastal Cleanup, which in many ways, am I wrong? It is September, right? Asti gave me this look. And so it really is an indication that there is just an across-the-board, community-wide need for involvement and efforts to try and get the public, especially our island's children, involved in all of the sustainability efforts is just so important for our very survival. But really, we're not looking to survive, we're looking to thrive on this island. That really is essential in our approach to green growth and to sustainability. Madam President, thank you for the university's leadership. University established the Center for Island Sustainability. They're the ones that initiate the Conference on Island Sustainability, which really provided a great foundation for the government and civil society to come together and be aware about what's happening on Guam. We have a large amount of challenges that we're experiencing, and really collectively, it reminds us to focus efforts to ensure that we're leaving our island in a better place than when we found it. That really always is essentially what our responsibility is as residents of the island and, of course, residents of Mother Earth. I wanted to say that the embrace of sustainability and sustainable development has really also helped us engage the greater region and the world. The opportunity to be a charter member of the local 2030 Islands Network has meant that we've been able to establish great partnerships with island leaders and island governments and academic institutions around the world. And I was very happy in May, I had an opportunity to travel with Dr. Shelton to the Small Island Developing States Conference and to help the Micronesia Challenge explain what our region is doing and learning how the work that we're doing collectively in the region and how that work is consistent and building has inspired a whole lot of action elsewhere in the world. It has inspired the Aloha Challenge. It has inspired the Caribbean Challenge. And when I talk about Guam's embrace of the 17 SDGs, I always say that it empowers us to understand what kind of action is happening. Action is just not exclusive to the government. Action includes civil society, academic institutions, and individuals. And Guam Green Growth has given us a framework to recognize the action that is happening around the island, but also gives us an opportunity to identify where action is urgently needed, and there may not be resources that are assigned. And in this case, this is informing how we approach and pursue grant funding and financial support. Our focus area on our natural environment that is led by Dr. Fran and Banji Lujan has identified urgent matters and projects that need to happen. And that is going to guide funding decisions on how we expend and assign grant funds on the hazard mitigation projects coming from typhoon malware recovery. It's going to help us identify what kind of programs we're going to support funded by NOAA and USDA and across the board. But what it says also to funders is that we're very clear and focused, and we understand what are the kinds of things that we need to do in order to make our island a better place and make it more resilient. Now, I've had a chance to share this work recently when Melvin Wampat Borja and I traveled to Fiji earlier in the month to attend the Foreign Officials Committee meeting and the Foreign Ministers meeting of the Pacific Island Forum. The governor is in Tonga right now, and she'll be coming back tomorrow. But all of this actually, and the action that we've been able to lead with the University of Guam has really strengthened our portfolio in the region, and it's piqued a lot of interest from elsewhere in the Pacific. The future, I believe, is going to have a lot of opportunities, including for the university, Madam President, for it to be a place of investment and innovation. We've been advocating to the funders at NOAA to establish a center for climate resiliency and what is it called, Austin? Invasive species. I mentioned invasive species actually in one of my talks at the PIF because despite it really, I think the message I was making is political status and governments are not determining what is happening. Just because we have a border doesn't mean that we're not dealing with the same kind of challenges with invasive species. Doesn't mean that we're going to be more resilient against sea level rise. It means that despite your political status, we need to be able to identify action and establish partnerships to be able to push forward. So, Madam President, Dr. Shelton, and everybody here, I just want to say thank you. Thank you also to everybody that works for the Center for Island Sustainability and the Sea Grant and the Great Conservation Corps program. I think that we've been showing that we're building a network and we're building a workforce of Guamanians that are really poised for action. And I'm really, really confident in Guam's future based on the kind of action that we're seeing. And Madam President, especially from the leadership of the University of Guam. So I want to sincerely thank you for playing your part long-term as the AVP and now as president in continuing the partnership with the government of Guam for our island. And we look forward to how this is going to expand and then also support the mission and the vision you have for the university. Thank you very much.
Cesar Smas, the acting governor. I now want to give the floor to Nicole Guerrero, the University of Guam Student Government President, for the reading of the proclamation.
Proclamation number 2024-75, a proclamation of the Governor proclaiming September 2024 as Sustainable September. Whereas Sustainable September promotes the implementation of the 17 United Nations Sustainable Developmental Goals in locally and culturally effective ways, whereas this time is dedicated to promoting sustainability, acting urgently to address and prevent environmental challenges, and strengthening our efforts to protect the biodiversity of Guam, whereas climate change represents the most critical challenge to the sustainability of humanity and the systems that support our lives and make our world habitable, whereas prioritizing sustainability in all aspects of life ensures that the need of the current generations are met without compromising the prosperity of future generations, whereas partnerships forged in solidarity towards the strengthening of innovative solutions support efforts to eliminate poverty, increase food security and attainable housing, improve the delivery of adequate health care, ensure access to quality education and work development opportunities, and protect our valuable finite resources. Whereas the United Nations emphasize that we are in a critical window to act on the most significant global sustainability challenge before 2030, whereas building on a collaborative foundation, the Guam Green Growth Public-Private Partnership continues to develop and enact tangible solutions to sustainability, where challenges foster the growth of a green economy for the island and region, whereas countless people and organizations on Guam continue to work collaboratively on initiatives that contribute towards achieving a more sustainable future, including the University of Guam, UOG Center for Island Sustainability and Sea Grant, Guam Green Growth, the Office of the Governor and Lieutenant Governor of Guam, Research Cooperation of the University of Guam, Mayor's Council of Guam, Bureau of Statistics and Plans, Guam Power Authority, Department of Chamorro Affairs, Guam and Sustainable Culture, iRecycle, Department of Agriculture, Forestry, and Soil Resources and Biosecurity Divisions, Guam Energy Office, Guam Waterworks Authority, Guam Community College, Guam Economic Development Authority, Guam International Airport Authority, Guam Youth Congress, Guam Department of Education, Guam Environmental Protection Agency, Guam Building Code Council, Department of Public Health Social Services, Department of Public Works, Department of Youth Affairs, Department of Parks and Recreation, Guam Animals in Need, GUMA, Island Girl Power, Commission on Decolonization, Micronesia Climate Change Alliance, Bureau of Women's Affairs, Tonu Tasi Dentodu, Triton Farm, GCA Trades Academy, UOG Marine Lab, USFW Guam National Wildlife Refuge, Valley of Galacti, United Airlines, Bank of Guam, Local 2030 Island Network, Hawaii Green Growth, Kapu Hawaii, Guam Waste Control, Guam Housing Coalition, Blue Planet Alliance, the Nature Conservancy, the Climate Strong Island Network, Guam National Science Foundation and Ecosystems Collaboratorium for Corals and Oceans, Guam NASA EPSCoR, Pacific Climate Adaptation Science Center, ProFree, EA Engineering, Science and Technology Incorporation, Pacific Federal Management, GTA, whereas these organizations and their partners contribute to drive community discussions on natural resource management, climate action, renewable energy solutions, accessible food security, sustainability, education, responsible consumption and production, and whereas by working together we can strengthen our efforts to protect our environment, act on climate change, and ensure the sustainability of natural resources for generations to come.
Now therefore, I, Joshua F. Tenorio, Octu Magatlahin Guahan, Acting Governor of Guam, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Organic Act of Guam as amended, do hereby proclaim September 2024 as Sustainable September, and do further encourage all island residents to be more aware about their impact on the environment and to get involved with the sustainable events and activities that have a positive impact in our community. Given under my hand and the Great Seal to be affixed here in the capital city of Hagåtña on this 30th day of August in the year of our Lord, Anno Domini 2024, and Viva Sustainable September.
Cesar Masi, Nicole, and of course to our acting governor. If I can have all our stakeholders to the front for a group photo. I want to thank you all for joining us here at the office of the governor, and happy Sustainable September.